This is MEZA Grand Duchess Rasmus Conan, aka Ryan Tomlinson. What a beautiful Saturday it is. I should have been out at the Amish market early this morning, but as the force is with me and I am with the force and the force is in me, what should I do but enjoy my state of being, the confidence in being, the confidence in my reality, the confidence in who I am, what I represent and how I should represent it. What did I do the earlier part of the morning? Rather than cleaning and washing, sat in my bed, touched my body and my breast. Yes, I thought of having a man beside me. Somebody told me this was a little cold sore, but it's not, darling. Just a little pimple. I haven't had a cold sore. Hope so. Since I was like, what, 13 years old. Used to be right here in my nose. So horrible. Just one little scarring because I do my little laser hair treatments. And what we went to talk about today, on my reflection and going out last night, and having a drink at Cheesecake Factory and so forth. Sometimes life, enjoying yourself, is not about food. It's about a company. Have you ever enjoyed company without speaking to anyone? Have you enjoyed yourself without being a part of a large group, but surrounded by a group in a restaurant? People watching gives me great pleasure. I will always defer to non-verbal body language. It gives a lot of people away. There was one gentleman that I thought I was staring at him, or I was focused on him, but actually he was just in my direction. There was no conversation about whether or not I was staring, but he politely stepped behind the wall. I didn't even recognize he was doing that, and then came all around the bench and said hello, and he thought I was staring at him. So they are in a misconception in perception. Unbothered by it, flattered that he paid me the attention, yes, because darling, I don't. He was attractive, but not my type, let's just say. But you never know. Knowing somebody on an intellectual and mental level can bring much love and much affectations. I wrote a little quotation today, darling. As I sat and thought in my room, going over a lot of things and so forth. I got a lot of emails from ABC News and NBC News on a story. I just, if they did send me or whatever, I tried to resend the email. It was one of those no reply address, so I just submitted the story I had on hand. But sometimes in life, I thought of two things today. That stupidity, it actually starts in polite circles where education and rank are supreme, of common influence. And what should that mean to you, and what should it mean to me? That sometimes people are so stuck in where they are and what they should be. They're rhetorical in who they are, what they are, in the decisions that they make. And who am I to make such a judgment? No one, an observer. Who are you to make such a judgment? An observer. And so forth. And when you look at the action, you kindly observe it. You begin to wonder and you begin to see the moronic mentality. It is observed today in our society. We don't have to look very far. We just have to look at politics. What we hope it would be and what it isn't. The freedoms that we hold dear and there aren't. The loves that we love and we lost because we were tricked while they were idled and they were possessed by their psychic and the stars. Well, if so, what does it mean that Venus is drawing 3 planets into our orbit and into our focus? What does that represent to us? Maybe nothing, maybe something. Do I buy into it? I observe it. A potentiality of the meaning. Can it be changed? Yes. How it will be changed? That is the question. And so, how is what we should be focused on. How do we correct? How do we move forward? Why do we proclaim these things and rob it from other people? Why? But then that is the stupidity of intelligence. It starts in the polite circles, in places you never expect it. And it blossoms because they're so unique and so selective that the common people, common sense is missing. I thought about Alice in Wonderland and the time that Alice in Wonderland was written. And was Alice really in Wonderland? What does the caricatures represent? It represents a greater mentality of the hesitations of Alice's family. What were their frustrations? What were their anxieties? And what was the anxiety of such a society? I remember Alice in Wonderland because I remember a certain structure back in that time as it relates to the political and social structure. Something to which we're living right now. And what was Alice doing? What was Alice in Wonderland doing? Alice my apologies. Alice was written in 1865, and no one knows what was happening in that time in 1865. There was Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria got a sign from a fly. She never swatted the fly, but somebody else thought the fly was an angel before it landed on her. And it's not that Queen Victoria had any insight. The real Queen Victoria, she wanted to give sight to something much greater than what she think it was, in her own way, in her own dynamism, that she started to plan with care. There were certain marriages and certain deaths that we have come to believe that were marriages and were death that never happened. But how could I prove it? How could you prove it? How do we begin to align ourselves with a destiny? What was Queen Victoria looking for? But poor little Alice. Beatrice, the youngest daughter, did a really injustice to the life of Queen Victoria. Alice was Alice in Hesse, in Germany. Alice saw some danger to things. Alice was hesitant on Vicky's marriage. Alice is not ordinary Alice in Wonderland and how it was written, but the interaction with a certain member of royalty with the author of this book, and then the disputation of authorship and the contribution of the story to the time and to the place. But I will not divulge my sources and I will not give my conclusions. Sometime in life we just will not operate from that standpoint. Things, it is as it is. Things is as it is, as it's going to be, and probably as it shouldn't be. But what we should be and what we can exercise are those basic instincts of life. And that is the thing of Alice in Wonderland. Too big, too small, drink this, drink that, this will cure this. And the only cure was a cure of attention, affection, and respect, and dignity.